Good Thursday morning, late night for a lot of people watching the Grizzlies and the Lakers. Good game. We're going to talk with Pete Prenica about that in a few minutes. Ron Higgins on the SEC. Some big games this week. The college football playoff poll that came out 4-4, 1-1-1-1. Get his take on all of that. Plus what's going on in Florida with the Billy Napier woes and the real trouble that Todd Golden appears to be in. We'll discuss all of that, and then Jarvo, the Hall of Famer, will end our Thursdays as we get set for the Tigers and the UAB Blazers, the Battle of the Bones. You're a Tiger fan, Brian Takis. Does that mean anything to you? I like the rivalry with UAB. Like if Memphis left and got in a better conference, I would be okay with a basketball series and every once in a while a football series with UAB.
Absolutely. I mean, I certainly have memories as being a young kid watching some of those basketball games that were really competitive. Sometimes got a little ugly, but that's neither here nor there. And I mean, on the football side, it stopped for a really long time. Now it's back. So I mean, it's cool, I guess, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if it ended.
I guess that's fair. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but if you're going to play non-conference games, and you can't get anything going with the Power Four because they don't want to play you, that would be, in my mind, that would be a suitable one to go and see. What are the Tigers favored by in this game? 14.
Wow.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I think Memphis is going to win that game. I'll know a little bit more. We meet with the coaches today. But the Tigers don't have that killer instinct. Every game is a close game, right? Mm-hmm. Fortunately, out of the 10 games so far, 8 went Memphis's way. But all of them have been pretty close. I guess the one that sort of really got away was the Texas-San Antonio in the Alamo Dome. But otherwise, and the Tigers had a 10-point lead in that game and couldn't put the foot on the pedal to pull away. So the killer instinct, 14 points seems a lot to me, but who knows? This is a weird UAB team. They can score some, but they don't score a lot on a regular basis. They only average 25 points a game. And they give up a bunch, and you can run the heck on them. I'm expecting Super Mario and maybe Greg DeWozier to go crazy in this game. As I say, I'll know a little bit more when we talk about it tomorrow morning. In the meantime, the Memphis Redbirds released a statement yesterday in light of the 901 FC departure to beautiful Santa Barbara, California. I'm going to a wedding there.
Oh, wow.
This June. Keep that in mind, my friend.
Yeah.
It is really a beautiful place. It is really an expensive place. I don't know where they're playing. Obviously, there must be a soccer-specific stadium that's being built or is already there that I haven't seen.
Yeah, so I saw this, I guess, in a story yesterday I was reading about this whole deal. I don't remember who exactly did the story, but it said that, I guess, Santa Barbara was getting a team, and they were going to be in the lower, I guess there's 2 divisions of USL. There's a Champions, and then there's USL 1.
I can't imagine they'd be going to drop a USL championship team to go to 1.
No. So they were going to have a 1.
Oh,
and so they were already building stuff and developing everything. But now that they're getting 901 FC, it's going to be in the Champions
And I'm
division.
Assuming it's in the midst of being built, or they would have started next year. Because now you're dismantling the whole team.
That's right.
I mean, Stephen Glass isn't going to sit out a year. Neither are any of these players. So anyway, I don't know where Marlon and Knight, Pickering and all that young kid, these guys, I don't know where they're going to end up, but obviously it's sad. And then Craig Unger and that ownership group yesterday afternoon, released a statement. And basically the statement was, you better fix AutoZone Park or the privilege of having AAA baseball could go away. Now look, the Grizzlies used the same argument to get almost all the money from the state. And I've said yesterday I really felt bad for Craig Unger because he was in on the lobby to get the money to begin with and then got shafted. And it was the Grizzlies that wanted it all. And as I said yesterday, if not for Fred Smith and public outcry, Memphis, the university, would not have gotten anything out of that. So now they'll sort all that way through. And I don't think, because they're here till 30. They've got a deal till 30.
Yeah.
Cardinals can't leave till 30. But here's what I say to Mr. Unger, and I like Craig Unger. But I will tell you, under your watch, the bathrooms have become disgusting. You claim that the seats are cracked, and they may be, but your group sold excess seats that were being stored. There was the original grouping of seating. Then there were new seats added when the Cardinals renovated AutoZone Park. That's on you guys that those seats aren't there because you sold them for the money at the time. I'm not sure the atmosphere is as fan-friendly as it was when the ballpark opened and you had guys like Allie Prescott and Dean Jernigan involved. It's not the same. Some of that may be things with time become less attractive or more commonplace, maybe is a better way to put it. But the ballpark, as any older ballpark would as it ages, has not been taken care of as best it could be. That's under their watch. Now, we can't lose what was the thing that kick-started the rebirth of downtown. Now, I shouldn't say all of that, really. Truly, the Peabody was the first, Beale Street was the second to rejuvenate downtown. But the jewel at 4th and Union is the third part of it. You cannot lose and have an empty stadium sitting down there, especially since we have this perception of danger downtown. The parking thing is a real issue. I don't know how to fix that. It is a real issue. But the city has to fix, they own it. They have to fix the ballpark. They've got to get it back up to snuff. But if they do, and a Baseball Insider put this idea into my head, but I think it's spot on. If indeed or when they end up fixing up AutoZone Park back to the beauty, the restoration of the way it was, there has to be language in a deal. We did this for you. From now on, deferred maintenance is on you. We're giving you a ballpark. Take care of it. We're going to keep it up for you for a little bit. You've got to then take the ball the rest of the way. Clean the bathrooms. If there's excess seating the next time from this, don't sell it. Install it when a seat gets cracked. But make sure you do it quickly. And try to get back fan-friendly. That would be a huge benefit because those crowds, as Joe Denk spelled out perfectly yesterday, there are 4 minor league teams in the state of Tennessee. 2 of them are AA. Nashville, I can understand. They've got a bigger population now. There's more money in Nashville. Even though in the old days when both teams were AA, Memphis outdrew Nashville on a regular basis. That's not the case anymore. Things have changed. I can live with that. Knoxville AA, Chattanooga AA, outdrawing the Memphis Redbirds. That's not the way it should be. And that you've got to go back and look at the operators in the eye and say, hey, some of this is on you. You need to do a better job. And I hope, since they were so out front in their statement yesterday, I think we need to be out front in the statement too. You guys need to be better. And if indeed the city fixes it, you better start taking care of deferred maintenance. That seems only fair to me. We'll see in the long run what happens. In the meantime, I am I going to L.A. or am I going to San Francisco? I'm really not sure. Pete Pranica is always on the move. The perfect West Coast guy, getting up early for us. Oh, you're such a nice guy. Where are you? Do you know? Do you know where you are?
No, we're still in Santa Monica, and the team will have some practice this afternoon, and we will fly to San Francisco this afternoon.
Last night was fun. I think the matchup with the Lakers is just entertaining as heck. Now, I must confess, I tried to stay up for the whole game, but I started nodding off right after the third quarter. So I didn't see the comeback by the Lakers. I read some stories. I think they picked a little bit on the inexperience of Zach Edey, who had some really good moments in this game too. But give us your perception of the matchup, and also Yeah, we can't keep talking about LeBron every darn week, but he's now the oldest guy ever to have 3 straight triple-doubles at 39. I mean, it's like this guy doesn't slip.
No, he's unbelievable. I mean, he really and truly is. And playing heavy minutes. I think that's the one question about this Lakers team is they need Davis and LeBron to be all-star caliber every single night.
Yeah.
What is the supporting cast going to do? Austin Reeves is very good. Dalton Connect goes 5 for 5 from 3, and that was really the key to the rally for the Lakers. The building was dead. The Grizzlies were up 9, and even though Davis went out with 5 fouls, he was off the court for 9 minutes and 45 seconds of game time, and the Lakers were +7. That was a deciding factor as well. And then Davis stepped out, made a couple of threes. A team makes 23s.
Yeah.
You know, that's hard to live with. The Grizzlies have lost, I think, only twice this year, scoring 120 plus. And those 2 games, Chicago had 25 threes, LA had 23s. So there you go.
The Grizzlies, I think, win the points in the paint big, but you give up 23s, you're not going to win very many games. I think Memphis had 12, so look at the differential from the three-point range. That would be 24 points. That's hard to overcome, even if you win a lot of the other categories.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a Lakers team that they were a middle-of-the-pack three-point shooting team, and they shot pretty much 50%.
I still marvel, though, at the depth of the team. I know you made a point on that during the broadcast, but and I don't mean to downgrade any of these players when I say this, but this is your starting lineup. It's Pippen, it's Wells, a rookie, it's Huff, two-way guy. Both Pippen and Huff started off as two-way guys. Aldama, who's really come on, and Triple J, who's playing like a superstar. I mean, unbelievable how good every time he turns and fires, I think it's going in. He's playing the best he's ever played, and then you look at the bench, and a lot of these guys who are now contributing might not contribute at all. When you get back Morant and Bane and Williams and Gigi Jackson, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with depth.
Yeah, this team is absolutely stacked, and so that's a question. You know, what happens to guys like Jay Huff? You know, when you get deeper into the season and more of these guys come back. And Jake LaRavia is playing at a career best level too. So I mean, but see, Taylor wants to play very, very fast, and so you're not seeing guys playing 35 minutes. They might play 27, 28, and so it's going to be incumbent upon him, and it's going to be a challenge. But it's a good challenge when you've got that many talented players, and when you bring somebody off the bench, they're not just soaking up minutes, and you're praying that you don't lose a lead or get further behind, but that you can bring people off the bench and you can either rally or increase your lead. So it's a good problem to have, and given the injury concerns that the Grizzlies have had the past few years, the depth is what saved them.
How did Marcus Smart play in his return? Your thoughts?
I think Marcus was a little uneven. You know, there were some 3-point shots that were good and some that weren't quite on. So. But you know, he was a -5 on the night and finished with 15 points. So I think it was a decent return to form for him. And again, this is about Taylor Jenkins reincorporating guys who have been out for a period of time. There is hope that Vince Williams might be back for the Golden State game on Friday, and Bane should not be too far behind. And then Shams Charania was reporting that John Morant will have another evaluation this weekend to see how close he is to returning. So, you know, things are moving in a positive direction in that front.
And that's a weird injury because I think I read somewhere where they say that usually happens to hockey players, some football players, rarely a basketball player, the kind of hip thing that he went through. I still can't believe there wasn't a foul called on that particular
You and me
play.
both.
Yeah. You mentioned on the broadcast last night, and you're going to Golden State, but it is the first of your I'm not as sure of the official name. The NBA Emirates
The
Cup?
Emirates Cup.
It is
Yes.
the Emirates Cup. Have you ever flown Emirates, by the way? I'm
No,
assuming it's that airline.
It is that airline. No, I've not flown it, but they are the kit sponsor for my beloved Arsenal. So that's kind of that's the only affiliation I have with Emirates.
Well, I can tell you I've never flown it either, but I heard stories from the former GM Chris Wallace, who spoke about how great Emirates was. Seriously, it's supposed to be like the Cadillac of airlines.
Exactly.
I heard Brevin like looking forward to looking at the floors. And you know it's the cup because of the floors. I guess so. You do know it's different. I don't like them, personally. I'm a little more old school. Do the players like it? And do they really become more enthusiastic in playing games in November and December because of this cup?
Oh yeah, because you're playing for something, and just ask the Portland Trailblazers, who got spanked by the Grizzlies on Sunday and then come back in their first cup game. They beat Minnesota, or Atlanta without Trae Young goes into TD Garden, beats the Celtics.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, the players, they do look forward to it because you're playing for something. There is something at stake. No, it's not the Lawrence O'Brien Trophy, but it is something. It is different. There's a vibe in the building. The floor is different, whether you like the designs or not. It's different, and it's a different environment. And I think the players really, truly enjoy that, because when you get to any part of the season, you're like, okay, we're in game 12. We still got 70 more of these to play. But I think the fact that the Emirates NBA Cup gives teams something to play for. There was great fear going into it last year, or when it was announced, actually, that teams might sit guys, and it's really not that big a deal. But the players have really warmed to it, and I think it's cool. I mean, the floors, they are garish, and I don't mean that in a pejorative sense, but they're meant to make it different, and they certainly have achieved that.
I don't know, and I may be because I'm an old dude, but they distract me. They do, but I think I think if we took a vote, most people, young people, like it. Like Brian Dacus. What's your thought on the floors?
I think they're cool. I mean,
Yeah, there you go.
I don't want them every game, but I think they're cool.
I think that's, I swear to you, I would say that's the majority young. I'm just an old dude. Cleveland is 13-0. I think that's the best start since Golden State a few years ago started 24-0. Are you stunned by this? Because I am.
Yeah, I am. I mean, we knew that they were a good team. I know Kenny Atkinson is a good coach, but they've just gotten off the start of the season on a heater, and it's a good roster. There's no doubt. But I think if you were looking for a team to start, 13, 14-0, you probably would have guessed Boston, other than Cleveland. But good for them, and see if they're able to sustain it, because they'll be losing streaks coming down the road. But they're just playing really, really well right now.
Right. Well, and you wouldn't expect Milwaukee to be 4-8. You wouldn't expect Philly to have the start that they have had now, 2-9. So that East is kind of crazy. We're seeing it changing maybe the guard here, except for Boston. And I still think Boston's the best team in the league.
Yeah. I think ultimately the championship and the Eastern Conference, it all runs through Boston right now, and there's no reason to believe anything differently at this point.
The Golden State Warriors, 9-2. You've got them next. I don't think I would have thought that they were 9-2. I kind of thought they were on the decline. Klay Thompson went and left. That was a nice moment in the very first of the Emirates Cup games in the West Coast when they played and they beat Dallas. It was a heartwarming welcoming back for Klay Thompson. Very emotional in the chase. But I did not expect them 9-2, really, in a year I thought they would start to slip a bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that either, but they've gotten tremendous play off their bench. It's going to be a matchup of the two most productive benches in the NBA on Friday night. And I'm just now starting to dive into Golden State. But, they have a system and they have a culture. And, Steve Kerr obviously is a pretty doggone good coach. And they've got Draymond Green reignited and not dealing with the foolishness, but tending to his business. And so it's going to be a very, very tough start to the Cup experience for the Grizzlies, who are looking for their first ever Cup win. And it's not easy, because you got Denver and New Orleans also in your group.
You mentioned Steve Kerr. I think we all came to know Steve Kerr when he was at Arizona, and his father was assassinated. He was an ambassador in the Mideast. And we realized how smart he was. And then, of course, he was with those Bulls. He was the shooting guard that sort of replaced Paxson for the Bulls. And he came through in many ways in Chicago with Michael Jordan. Then the guy is so smart and such a good, articulate conversationalist, he became the number one analyst for college basketball. Worked Final Fours with Jim Nantz.
Mm-hmm.
And then became a coach. I'm sure he's influenced a little bit by what they do in San Antonio with Pops. I didn't see that he would become this incredible coach. Then he's not only coaching this dynasty, coaches the USA to a gold. I mean, he's an incredible story when you start to think about it.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough to be around Steve for a year in Portland, and just an incredibly thoughtful guy. The experience of tragedy early in his life helped shape his perspective, but he's very bright. He's a sponge. He's been around great coaches, whether it's Phil Jackson or Greg Popovich, and he's picked up a lot. And, you know, he also had the benefit of being a commentator and seeing the league, and I think people forget that he had a cup of coffee with the Phoenix Suns in their front office. So he got to see the way the front office works. He got to see the way the whole league works from a broadcast perspective. And so he's got such a background as a championship player, an executive, and as a coach. And I have great respect for Steve. I mean, that's one thing that, you know, there's a great rivalry between the Grizzlies and Golden State, but I have tremendous respect for Steve Kerr, and one of the best people that I've been around in my 32 years in the NBA to be on the same team, albeit for just 1 year.
Who do you think he coaches more like, Pop or Phil Jackson?
Probably Pop. I don't know that Phil Jackson was warm and fuzzy in relationships, but for Greg Popovich, if you talk to anybody who's been around him for any length of time, what Greg Popovich does more than anything else is that he engenders communication and relationships. You know, the great story about, they have the quote about pounding the rock. Well, every player, regardless of their nationality, when they come to San Antonio, that quote is translated into their native tongue and painted on the walls. So, you know, they had to put it there in French for Boris Diaw and Tony Parker, and then they had to have it in a native Australian dialect for Patty Mills. But it's those types of things. It's the personal relationships that you build, and I think both of those guys are great relationship builders, and ultimately why I think they have so much success.
Now, Phil Jackson would recommend books. I wonder what book he recommended for Steve Kerr.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. I'm sure the answer is out there somewhere.
I'm sure it is. Pete, thank you for getting up early. Enjoy your trips out west. Actually, we're going to be at the Chase next Thursday night, a week from tonight. The Tigers are going to play USF in that building. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I know you will enjoy yourself, and we'll talk again next Thursday.
Sounds good.
Thank you. That is Pete Pranica. He is the TV voice of your Memphis Grizzlies. They fall last night to LA in a heck of a game. 7-5, though. They've actually slipped a little bit, and now they're 7th. Earlier on, there were 2 or 3 games over 500, and the league was so crazy in the West, they were like 9th.
Yeah.
You know, I just am amazed at how well they are playing, considering that they don't have Morant and they don't have Bane, 2 of their best 3 players. That's astonishing to me. We take the break. When we come back, let's head to Baton Rouge. We talk SEC and college football with SEC historian Ron Higgins, and he comes your way in a minute.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey everybody, it's the thankful month and All-Star Chevy here in Olive Branch has red tags on everything. New 24s and 25s. Gotta love these new affordable Equinoxes for $25. Red tags, 0% financing, a ton of cash for you. Red tags on Silverados, the new 24s with 1.9 plus $3,750 in cash. New Colorado trucks, financing down to 1.9 and not one payment until February. Hey, your good credit deserves deserves it. If you're law enforcement, first responder, healthcare, military, education, recent grad, you get an extra $500 bonus. All-Star has pre-owns that you want. Jeep and SUVs, Toyota, Nissan, Suburbans, Tahoes, and tons of pre-owned Silverados. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money for it today. Drew and everyone at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch wishes you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving. Together, let's drive. AllStarAutoGroup.com.
Hey fellas, it's Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Jewelers, and this year it happened on October the 21st. My first gentleman came in the store and asked me what he should get his wife for Christmas. My answer was get her what she will enjoy and something she will love. Think about what she likes. You might even ask her what she wants. Then, come into Russell Brothers and let us show you the finest, most beautiful jewelry in Memphis. Folks, this will be our 40th Christmas, and many of our customers have been with us for all 40 of those years. They come looking for fine jewelry that makes a lady's eyes dance, but they also know that they will receive quality, value, and service that is unsurpassed in Memphis. And at Russell Brothers, you can play St. Nick knowing that if you don't make the right choice, our money-back guarantee will allow her the ability to exchange her gift for one that she really does love, or she gets your money back. For 5 decades, we've helped thousands of Mid-South Sammers, and we'd love to help you. Russell Brothers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday is happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Enjoy Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, Fall is football.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
All we hear is Radio Gaga.
We are headed down to Baton Rouge in just a minute. I meant to point this out earlier, but I got caught up in the Redbirds deal. I don't know. You're too young because you probably don't get the printed newspaper, do you?
I don't. My girlfriend's parents do, and I read theirs a lot.
Okay, so I like to have it because I bring my notes and everything in it every day.
Uh-huh.
Did you see today's sports section headline?
Uh-uh.
I'm going to show it to you really quick, and you won't believe it.
That's great.
That is incredible. I know. For the most part, I've always been told, I think this is kind of changing, especially because now, the people that edit this paper might not even be in Memphis.
Yeah.
They might not even be in Nashville.
Yeah,
There's too much Nashville in this paper anyway. But anyway, the headline on the Jason Munn story, and I'm 100% certain this is not Munsey's fault.
Yeah, me too.
The headline is Memphis Bobcats set to take on the Ohio Tigers.
That's great. That's fantastic.
So at least they got the right nicknames.
Sure, yeah.
They just didn't get the right schools.
Flipped them around.
Can you believe that?
That's
How
wild.
could somebody make that mistake?
Oh, man.
It can't be anybody from Memphis.
No
this
chance.
has to be done from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Cincinnati, Ohio, or something like that. I just do not know. That is, I'll tell you. Maybe Ron Higgins will know. He's a former commercial appeal SEC and Memphis beat writer. Ron Higgins, could you believe that mistake could be done in this day and age?
Yeah, I can believe it because that's Gannett. Gannett has lays out the paper in regions. When I worked in Jackson, Mississippi, I came to my office one morning and I had a ton of angry phone calls. And apparently, my Southern Miss beat guy, who's a Rick Cleveland's son, who understands Mississippi.
Yeah.
Okay, the headline, instead of saying USM,
the headline said SMU because some dillweed in Phoenix, Arizona, writing headlines and laying out the paper, didn't know any better. Just like this dumb couldn't figure out the nicknames. I guarantee you the commercial appeal. It's a Gannett paper. It's some regional desk guy 2 time zones away. No clue.
I agree. I don't know if it's 2 time zones away, but I'm certain it is not in this state because anybody in this state would know it's the Memphis Tigers. They may not know Ohio Bobcats, but they would know that Memphis would be Tigers, and if you see Bobcats, it would go with the other school. That it's just amazing to me.
And understand this: it's never the writer. Okay, so everybody gets mad at the writer. It's never the writer.
Oh.
He just writes.
I'm 100% certain it's not. I tried calling Munsey, but I know it's not Jason Munn's fault.
No, I mean that's the type of thing when you, as a writer, you wake up in the morning, look at that, and you go, "Oh my God, no! Are you kidding me?" Oh my God!
I could not believe it when I saw it. I went, "This is such a gaffe. How could this be possible? How could this be possible?" It's like nobody really edited the story.
It's Gannett.
Man.
Gannett.
All right, let's talk SEC and let's talk college football. We'll start with the playoffs. The rankings have come out, and I'm not surprised at this, and it's going to carry through the rest of the way because the powers that be in college football are now the SEC and the Big Ten, and they're going to have as many as they can possibly get in. And the way it's working is right now it's the SEC 4, the Big Ten 4, the ACC 1, the Big 12 1. You're getting an independent Notre Dame, which now I understand why they would never join the league because they have a garbage resume with 1 loss to NIU, which is barely 500 in the MAC. And they're probably going to get in because all they got to do is beat Army and USC in order to make it. And that takes away from one of the other Power 4. And then you have the group of 5. They're only going to get 1 in anyway. We know that. That's the way the rules are going to work. But it could, if Notre Dame slips, it'll either be the SEC or the Big Ten, and it'll get a 5th. And the Big 12 and the ACC, even though they're Power 4, are going to get screwed.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of all worked out that way, like it all be we figured it would. It's kind of, you expand the playoffs and basically you just give the power conferences more teams, more chances to win national championships. I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, you would like a little more equality, especially for, the non-Power 5 conferences, 4 Power 4 conferences. I'd like to see at least two at large from the group of 5.
Let me ask you this: when they go to 16, and I'm certain they will, and I know both the Big Ten and the SEC, so this could end up happening where they're going to go, we shouldn't have automatic qualifiers. Who cares about league champions? We're just going to pick the best 16. We'll include the 1 group of 5 in there. And I don't know if that'll end up being a champion or not. It'll be interesting to see how all this works out. But I don't believe there's going to be a second one that will come from the group of 5. I think that'll be 15 that'll go to the Power 4.
Well, I know, but I'm holding out hope.
Yeah.
I do always think they're always going to pick conference champions. I believe they can reward a team for winning a conference championship.
I hope they do, seriously. And I don't mind if it's just 1 group of 5 that gets in. At least there's a seat at the table, and they've won it through a championship. That's fine. If there were 2 really great ones, maybe one year they would get 2 in. If there were 16, one would get the nomination as a champion, one of the 5, and then the other would get in as an at-large, like Cincinnati did, a couple of years ago when they made the 14 playoff. But I don't know that they'll do that. I really don't. I think this is all a money grab for the 2 that are in control, the SEC and the Big Ten. And are you surprised that 4 of the top 5 in the AP poll and in the college football playoff poll are from the Big Ten?
A little bit. I mean, I guess voters did take into consideration that the SEC just kind of eats itself up. I mean, it's so incredibly even this year. It's not like they're being penalized for that. I mean, you think they would be rewarded for that because there are a bunch of good teams in the league. I mean, maybe Texas is a great one. I mean, others are all good, but there's a bunch of good teams, and it's almost like they're being penalized for the fact that you have a lot of teams with 2 losses. Well, it's a really good league.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no doubt about that. It is. The quality of that league might be superior top to bottom of the Big Ten. And, there's a lot of people that think Indiana, come on, really? They're we'll find out this week. They play Ohio State.
Yeah. So, Indiana's answered the bill every week, but again, Indiana's got to play Ohio State. And I know I think Indiana's schedule down the stretch is really hard. So, had a lot of hard games at the end. But, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State. I mean, Penn State got rolled. BYU. I mean, I just question a lot of these teams until. I mean, I'm not being arrogant, but they don't play in the league every week where it's a hard game. And in the SEC, every week it's a difficult game every week with everybody. It's not easy, and the totality of that kind of wears on you. So if you win the SEC or the championship game, or you've run the marathon really, really well, and this marathon is not over. The fact it's going to go down this final week is really fun about this league this year.
Let me correct myself. Ohio State plays Northwestern this week, so that game must be in a couple of weeks. Indiana may have a bye this week.
Yeah. Indiana, they have Ohio State and Purdue left.
Yeah,
so,
they have a bye this week.
Yeah, and so I think the SEC this year is the best it's ever been. I really do. I know people look at the records; they don't know, they don't realize that. But when the best team in the league, the hottest team in the league right now might be South Carolina, and they have 3 losses.
I know.
That tells you something.
They're coming on. It is what it says. Were you surprised, or which surprised you more? Is a better way for me to put this: the Alabama domination of LSU or the Ole Miss domination of Georgia?
Probably Alabama domination of LSU. I thought Ole Miss would play Georgia really well. I mean, Georgia really pounded them last year. Lane went out and bought them a defense, and then they played a great game. They didn't turn the ball over. I mean, they just they played the game they need to play to beat Georgia. You just got to play solid defense and make some plays offensively. Don't do anything crazy. All things considered, if you have a good defense, you can beat Georgia. They did. I mean, that didn't surprise me. LSU is getting beat that Alabama. Alabama did. LSU had a week to prepare. For Alabama, they knew what Alabama did. They did the same thing to them last year, and they still couldn't stop Jalen Milroe. And LSU continued with offense. We had problems running the ball, which has been a problem all year. There's some stuff that's not going to be fixed until you get better players. I think that's kind of like Brian Kelly's underlying message of all of this. They know what's wrong. They try to fix it, and right now it's just the players aren't good enough to get it fixed with. So, hopefully they're trying to finish strong and finish 9-3. They play at Florida this weekend, and that is not a gimme game for LSU. Florida has played pretty well when they've had healthy quarterbacks.
Well, is that freshman playing Lagaway?
I think he'll be back this week. Yeah, I think he'll be back. I think they held them out last week because I don't think they thought they had a chance of beating Texas. I think they believe they have a chance of beating LSU, and they do. LSU's struggling right now, and the confidence level isn't high. LSU's dominated Florida. They've won that last of the 8 of 10 against Florida, 5 in a row. Florida's kind of due, and I'll be honest. I mean, this is a perfect spot spot for LSU to go fall on its face because they're kind of in a tailspin right now, trying to get the ship righted. And LSU and the SEC's crazy tiebreaker system, LSU still has a chance to get to the conference championship game. It's very slight what they do, but that this team doesn't deserve to be in the championship game or in a playoff. It deserves to be a 9-3 team that goes to a bowl. That's its top shelf, honestly.
What's the response the Georgia Bulldogs have as they take on the Volunteers of Tennessee?
Very angry. I mean, they're playing at home in Athens. I expect Georgia to win this game. Georgia doesn't play. I'm not going to say they played poorly at Ole Miss. They didn't play poorly. Ole Miss won that game. Ole Miss went out and won that game. You got to give Ole Miss credit. Georgia didn't play great, but Ole Miss made them play. Made them play that way. I think Georgia's won so many games in the past few years. They haven't had too many bounce back games, but they're pretty good when they bounce back. So I anticipate Georgia winning this game.
Do you realize they're 10-point favorites in this game?
I knew it was almost 9 or 10. Yeah. Considering Tennessee this year, it seems a little high. The Vols has, had one of their better years in a long time. They have Tennessee probably has one of the best running games and defenses in the league. They've won a lot of games that way. But Georgia at home, that's a tough get for Tennessee.
I'll say this: we said last week against Ole Miss that Georgia is a great bounce-back team. They haven't been playing up to the level. They've gotten away with a lot of mistakes. They won enough games that they would really show who they were in Oxford, and that did not happen. I got a feeling about Tennessee because the loser of this game is definitely out. Ole Miss is in now because they're not going to lose again. Ole Miss is going to be in. We know Alabama's now in unless they were to fall to Auburn in a rivalry game. I think Georgia or Tennessee eliminates themselves this week, and I don't think it's going to be Tennessee, but I'll make my official pick tomorrow. Ron, as always, we appreciate it, and we will talk next Thursday. Yeah.
All right, well, I'll see you.
Thank you. That's our SEC historian. That is Ron Higgins, who, he came straight out about his LSU Tigers, didn't they? They don't deserve to be in the championship game. We'll pause for a second. When we come back, we end our week with Jarvo. We'll head downtown and talk with the Hall of Famer Jarvis Greer in just a minute.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. I think that has been a key, as well as using the same subcontractors 20-plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
We're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
Looking for an engagement ring that'll really knock her socks off? You need to be at Genesis Diamonds.
It's such a privilege at Genesis Diamonds for us to work with the world's finest designers, to be able to offer brands like Tacori and Verragio, and we're excited to be able to give you something that nobody else can.
Genesis Vice President David Cooper.
The craftsmanship, the detail, the quality, the individuality is bar none better than anything else.
Genesis has been selected as an exclusive provider for every top designer from New York and California, with over 4,000 brands to choose from. And if that's not enough, they can create something that's truly one of a kind.
Custom craft your literally anything you can imagine. We have the capabilities to realize any dream you have. Things that other stores may call new, we've been doing for 3, 4, and 5 years already.
So don't settle for a medium style design. You deserve.
I'm David Cobb from Genesis Diamonds, and I'm excited to see you in our show.
Markets extended.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner. Maybe start with an appetizer like our baked sweet peculiar peppers stuffed with goat cheese and mozzarella, finished with basil pistou, and move on to one of our cozy dishes like the double chocolate stout braised boneless beef short ribs with tonkatsu sauce and creamy mashed potatoes, or a fresh seafood dish like our pan-roasted ginger-buttered sea bass with cilantro soy vinaigrette. I get hungry just talking about it. Don't forget about dessert, our famous sweet buttermilk pie with brown sugar sauce, or drink your dessert with one of our signature dessert cocktails, like the lemon cheesecake martini, lemony, icy, frothy, and dusted with graham cracker crumbs. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. We can't wait to serve you.
Mayweather Boxing and Fitness offers a high-energy, full-body workout that utilizes the same equipment and technology employed by Floyd Mayweather to achieve his impressive 50-0 record. The workout features 4 types of heavy bags, treadmills, rowers, battle ropes, weights, and much more. Visit Mayweather Boxing and Fitness, located at 2257 North Germantown Parkway in Cordova. Train like a champ. Mayweather Boxing and Fitness, 901-673-1267.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
We'll boogie our way downtown to talk to the Hall of Famer Jarvis Greer in a minute. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and that reminds me, we've got the brand new sale going on. That's the Ultimate Game Room and Fall Sale. You can complete that Ultimate Game Room with a new pool table, maybe a shuffleboard game. How about an arcade game? They got them all, or how about getting all 3 of them? That would really make for the Ultimate Game Room. If you're looking for perfect diversions for outside to really enjoy the fall weather, nothing would beat a fire pit. And they got them for 20 to 30% off. Oh, and by the way, theater seating overstocked, all priced to move. Even ask about the massage chairs. They're unbelievable. It's all going on. Fall sale, Ultimate Game Room sale at I-40 and Whidden Road. That is where you will find Family Leisure. I'm going to have you put Jarvis Greer on because the arrow's on the drop, but I don't want to make that mistake. The Hall of Famer joins us now. The Tigers are going to have Senior Day Saturday night, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Goodbye to Seth Hennigan. There's a lot. He's the winningest Tiger of all time, but there's a lot of other guys who played with him for a long time. Jonah Gamble on the offensive line, Rock Taylor, who he threw the ball to, Kobe Drake, who also was a guy he was throwing the balls to. And by the way, is one of the best punt returners Memphis has ever had. All those guys are going to say goodbye Saturday night against UAB.
Yeah, so I think it's 35 seniors that they've got scheduled, that will walk out with Coach Silverfield, and they'll get the plaque with their families, and there won't be a dry eye in the place. I know Ryan Silverfield's particularly close to Jonah Gamble because he went down there and recruited him and, won that recruiting battle against a lot of schools. The offensive tackle for Memphis has been a mainstay on the Tigers' offensive line. Seth Hennigan, what else can you say about him? All the numbers he's put up, he's close to being the most prolific passer in the history of the American Athletic Conference. What does he need, like 400 and few some yards to do that?
He's close to getting that for sure.
Yeah, he should. And with 2-3 games left, maybe 4 if we're lucky, he should eclipse that mark. And don't forget Greg Rubin, the defensive back out of White State, who's been here all 4 years and basically started every year at his defensive back spot. They finally found the right spot for him.
So he's a 4-year starter, too. We all talk about Hennigan, but the kid from White Station, he's a 4-year starter.
Yes, he is, and has played well. And like I said, they moved him to safety this year under Jordan Hankins' defense, the new defensive coordinator, and he has really, really thrived in that position. So hats off to the seniors. I remember when I went out there for my last time, it was against Louisville in the Liberty Bowl. Man, it's just like you looked around the stadium, the locker room, and said, where did the time go? I mean, it just goes so fast. And I'm sure the opposing teams will say Seth Hennigan has been at Memphis for 16 years and has a long gray beard and 16 grandchildren. But no, 4 years, that's what you get. And he is here, and he will make his last appearance Saturday night in the Battle for the Bone.
Or in the case of Gamble, I think 5 years because he got a COVID year.
Yeah, he did get a COVID year. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah.
Well, we won't be saying that anymore. Although, there are some people that think, they're going to 105 all scholarships, right? There's not going to be any walk-ons. You can only have 105. And there are a lot of guys that think that they're going to say, we're going to do away with red shirts. You got 5 years. If you get hurt, I'm sorry, but you're still going to get your 4 years in. If you don't get hurt, you're going to get 5 years. Some people think, including Ryan Silverfield, that eventually could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be some legislation coming along with that, and also, contracts for the players, because that's coming. There's so much stuff going on now. The coaches don't like it. I think some of the players may get the shaft on some of that, but it's like the players have all the power right now in terms of that. And I, as a former player, I'm all for that. But there's got to be some semblance of saneness to this. With all the the transfer portal opens 2 or 3 times a year, and it's really difficult to build a roster that way. But hey, we'll see. That's all I can say. Everything is volatile. Everything is up in the air at this moment.
Battle of the Bones. Tigers are 14-point favorites against a UAB team that has struggled. They are 2-7. They had a 6 or 7 game losing streak in there. A 6-game losing streak in there at one point. Your sense of the Battle of the Bones. You like this rivalry? Because I honestly do.
I do too, because the proximity of the two cities. And they are trying to do the best they can with their program. Memphis is trying to do the best it can with its program. It would be okay if the rivalry continued over the years, no matter what league that Memphis is in. And I think and it's great for the fans because it's easy for them to get here, and it's easy for Memphis fans to get down there. They've got a nice stadium to play in now, Protective Stadium, which is right off downtown Birmingham. So, and I think that is a passionate community for football down there. They brought that program back when the people at the University of Alabama basically tried to kill it. So, I think it's a good rivalry. I see no reason why it should end, whenever the contract runs out. But, they're in the league. So, as long as they're in the league, we'll be playing.
Your Grizzlies last night in another entertaining game with the Lakers. We're seeing Zach Edey kind of grow up in front of our very eyes. But the thing that impresses me the most, we talked with Pete Prenica about this earlier, is the depth that the Grizzlies have. Wait till all these guys come back.
Yeah, and I mean, the way they played last night, missing Ja, missing Desmond Bain, Vince Williams may come back Friday night. There's a possibility that he could be back, which would be great. And, G.G. Jackson's still on the mend. He'll be, in December sometime. They'll get him back on the court. He's chomping at the bit. So there is a lot more talent on the floor than what you have seen that here lately. And they still, the Lakers had not lost a game at home all year. They're one of the last teams in the NBA to not lose a home game. And it took a Herculean effort from Hercules himself, LeBron James, and then Anthony Davis with a couple of big threes down the stretch, for them to knock off the Grizzlies. And I thought, after getting shell-shocked at the beginning, I thought they played about, for the people that they have available to play on the floor, I thought they played about as well as they could play. Jalen Wells' shot was not there, and I think that was the difference in that ballgame. He couldn't throw it on the broad side of a barn, but he had to guard LeBron, which is like And that was like a man against a boy. I mean, if you look at
that
them
is
bodies,
easy,
and
right? Yeah,
yeah, that was tough. But yeah, Big Zach Edey looked really good and fouled Anthony Davis out. That was a battle of behemoths down the stretch, and that was an entertaining game. Just the Grizzlies just didn't have enough at the end to win it.
All right, last thing, we say goodbye to 901 FC.
Oh, man.
I know I got to do a bunch of those games with your son, JJ Greer. Those were really fun times. It is totally unfortunate that there just wasn't enough money to go around, and they had to have a soccer-specific stadium, and at this point, it's not in the works, and so Santa Barbara is going to end up with the Memphis team.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's like I hate it, but I understand it. You're only going to get so much money from the state. The stadium issue was the deal. They had the league mandated that every team by 2026 either had to have an operating soccer-specific stadium or at least the plans concrete for that to happen. And when the state doled out the money for the city for the facilities at $350 million, you knew the priorities were going to get gobbled up before they got anywhere near soccer. And when that didn't happen, that was pretty much the death knell. And it's tough because the games were fun to go to. It was an entertaining product. On the field, they always kept trying to improve. You called several games.
Oh, they were
and
really
they were
good. They made the playoffs the last 3 years with a home game.
Yeah, and the toughest thing was, 2019 they were averaging right at 8,000. They were up in the top of the league, and then the pandemic hit, and they were one of the first teams to come back, but they were only allowing like 150 fans in the stands, and they were telling you not to cheer because they don't spread your germs around. And that eventually went up to once the pandemic finally ended, but that knocked all the momentum off that they had to start. And that was really tough. And I hate it for, my son, because that's a little source of income there, calling the games with Dave Voloshin. And plus, a little tidbit, when he had to retire from soccer because he played in USL, when he and his wife started having children, the league did not have as strong a union, and their medical benefits weren't as good. So they decided to, let's just come on back home. And right after that, the USL granted Memphis a franchise, and they were calling him, hey, come on, man, we want you to play. But, he'd already made the decision and, gotten in with Kevin Kane, thank God.
Yeah.
He is gainfully employed. So, but, Dave, they're still in your pocket no matter what, no matter how old they get. But it's a great thing, and it was. I'm glad he was able to, keep with it by, doing color on the games with you and Pete Pranica.
It is sad for the whole city that
but it's just tough. Anytime you lose a franchise, it's a sad thing.
And let's face it, the wording's on the
wall.
And
the players liked it here.
Oh, yeah. If you're going to get a soccer team again, you know this now.
Oh,
you're going to have to build a stadium. Yeah, there you go. See you in a few minutes.
Hard reality.
See you in a few minutes at South Campus. We appreciate it. That is Jarvis Greer. That means our Thursday has come to an end. We make picks tomorrow. There's a whole new separate betting line. It's will Bryant Dacus win a game?
I don't know what I feel about that, Dave.
I think you'll win a game this time.
We can only hope. What's it been, 2 weeks?
You took darts and threw it at a board with the winners. You would do better than I think you're 1-14 your last 3 years.
Well, I think I've been throwing darts, so I don't know what I need to do now, but we'll see.
We'll see. We got 5 picks that'll come your way tomorrow. Can't wait for all of that. Andy Schiffman, he'll join us, and we'll end our week with the roundtable. That's tomorrow. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everybody.
Guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, SIG, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free border sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsofMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Quicky's Barbecue in Cordova.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered.
you love sports and Mexican